We're going to take a look at the meaning of a confidence interval. It's not enough to just be able to calculate it, you have to actually be able to interpret that interval. One of the most important things to understand is that the population proportion is some number, it's some constant that is set before you take your survey. You just don't know what it is. That's your goal by taking the sampling, the survey, is to figure out what the true population proportion is. So using your fancy math, using your statistics, you are some percent confident that you know the range the population proportion falls into. Now, the typical percentages we'll use would be like 90%, 95%, and 99%, depending on what your purpose is. So let's take a look. We find a 99% confidence interval down here, and what that means is that we're 99% confident that the population proportion falls within the interval that we found. So in the case of the way the calculator reports it here in this interval notation, we would be 99% confident that the true population proportion, which we don't know, falls between 52.8% and 65.5%. Another way to state the exact same thing is that we are 99% confident that the true proportion is 59.2% plus or minus 6.4% in either direction. Results become less meaningful when we don't meet our conditions. So having a confidence interval of 99% does not mean that you are truly 99% confident if you don't have a simple random sample or something equivalent. If you have too much undercoverage or if you have too much non-response. Any of the things that make a sample not very good are also going to throw off your confidence in your results. Because I could have 100% of people I survey say that they think I'm the best, but if I only ask people who I knew were going to say that already, then obviously you're going to have very biased data. So let's look at some real quick examples. Assuming a good sample, you could say something like, I'm 95% confident that the proportion of the population that supports the president is between 46.2% and 51.6%. Or you could say, I am 99% confident that the proportion of the population that eats mayo on cheeseburgers is between 37.2% and 44.4%. Now, maybe that's true, maybe that's not. But you get the basic idea. You're some percent confident that the proportion of the population that does something is between some number and some other number. I am 90% confident that the proportion of the population that wants to go skydiving someday is between 62.1% and 67.0%. Again, the whole point is that you determine your level of confidence ahead of time, and that's what sets up your calculator or your mathematical formula to produce the results it does, and that's where you get those two endpoints that we report here, where we think the population proportion falls in between.